Happening, Mark Bare Naked Willie? How are you today, my friend?
Well, I don't have a wave cell on my head, but that hard hat's looking good on you, Dave Cooper.
You like it? They even put our logo on it for us and everything. And I have to tell you, they sent me this hard hat. I wore it all through Europe, and I really actually like it. You know, hard hats suck when you got to wear them to begin with because it's hot. Plus, we're in Europe during the hottest time of the year. So I will say, and I'm not paid to do anything with this company, it's a cool hat, huh?
I tell you, I've been hit in the head too many times myself, and
Yeah.
I tell you what, it is sharp. Can we see the inside of it, Dave?
Yeah, I love it. It has this is why they call it wave cell. You see the yellow and orange in there. I hope you can see that. What that
Loud and
is,
clear. Look
yeah,
at that. So that looks like it keeps you
neuroscience.
cool, right? It's like a shock absorber, but also a cooling mechanism.
That's exactly it. It lets the air flow, but it also, depending on if you get hit from the side or from the top, all those cells move. So the helmet moves, but your head does not. It takes the absorption and the shock with it. So it's really cool stuff. So I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I don't know if that's zooming in or not. There it is.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, yeah. So
And freeze.
yeah.
Perfect.
So, dude, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I wanted to show off the wave. So I wore it through Europe. We had a lot of people really comment on the helmet. And if anybody's really, truly asking, I do like it. I'm not paid for it by them. I'm not a sponsor for them. They wanted me to try it, and I actually like it. And because I'm on a lot of commercial sites, I got to wear a hard hat all the time. So I'm very grateful, man. It's an awesome, comfortable hard hat.
It's the right color. The logo looks really slick on there.
Yeah.
I'm critical of that kind of stuff. On top of it, it's engineer style, right? So there's the traditional hard hat style, and then there's the engineer style. And this is extra primo good, sir.
It is extra primo good. And you know what else? It has a brim, unlike everybody's wearing those mountain climbing ones, which are nice. But the problem is they don't keep the damn sun off your ears or your
Darn, the darn sun
the,
off your ears.
yeah, the darn sun. Well, cool, man. What have you been up to, Mark's been a little bit of time with me traveling, and you've been doing a whole lot of work with everybody. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
So Dave and I were in Connecticut last, right? That was time 3 of actually being able to be in person,
Yeah,
and we were with Jake and Ben and Steve and Patrick and
yeah.
150 people we didn't get on camera because we only got so much time. And after that, yeah, I visited the largest passive house in North America with our
Where's that
buddy
at?
With Travis. I was in KC.
Yeah.
Dave, it's 238 unit buildings, all passive house, and
Wow.
it was all produced off-site.
Really? Whose product were they using?
I should have known you were gonna say that. So it's concrete tip-up panels.
Yeah.
And I'll say if you want to know, you gotta hang tight because I forgot. And that's just being honest, folks. I know certain products. Dave knows I'm a big wood guy. I love concrete tip up panels. The producer I don't remember, but I know that the general contractor on it delivered. I mean, these things were airtight. This is an efficient building, and all the windows came from Europe, separate company there. Travis Brungart, we all know him. That we were at that symposium. Really thankful to see that tour. And then I was out with our buddy Stephen Basic after that. And 7 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. What does Stephen do? He works. And so I
Oh.
had to keep up so his neck didn't hurt, waiting for me to catch up.
Yeah, I would imagine trying to keep up with Steve is no simple feat, and not just his not just his moving around and getting places. He's a tall guy, right? Just walking next to him, I feel like my son. I got to take 3 steps to every one of his, but his brain,
His brain. Yeah.
yeah,
Like omnipresent, and as you know, highly, highly detailed.
yeah,
I hate talking about me. You know that. Thanks for putting me on the spot. Tell me about your trip to Europe.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Mark? I learned a whole lot about what I didn't know. When you think you know, but you don't know, we spent a lot of time. We're going to get into a great conversation with NREL. We're going to play a clip from a while ago with Shanti from NREL as well on offsite construction and energy efficiency. But since Mark asked, I was in Germany, Austria, and Italy. And I went to a company called the Progress Group in Italy, and they're doing these amazing concrete wall panels. Now, say amazing. We think about carbon. I get all this, but I mean they're working. I mean, this is state of the art. This is a huge manufacturing facility with 6 people working, complete automation on the floor, and they're testing in lab facilities to reduce carbon and to build more energy efficient product. Is unbelievable. And when you see this, but what I thought was really cool, Mark, they're doing complete MEP wall systems, ceiling systems, climatic ceilings. They're able to put all the MEPs into their walls, into their ceilings using automation. We can't even figure it out with wood here. They're already doing this, and they have everything in place already, ready to go, to include, let's say you wanted sound insulation in the ceiling. Think about concrete walls with sound. Really? Is it possible? I'm here to tell you it is. The way they do the slats, and they're making these walls super light. They're using a lot less concrete, but they're super strong. So that was one side of it.
People hear a material. I'm glad you started with the comment, right? Because so people are always going to come up with, whenever there's a new way to do something, whenever there's a new solution, people are going to come up with objectives based on what they previously know.
Right.
So the important part is use 2 of these and process before you use this. And in the world of concrete, one, materials are based on local availability and local site-specific needs.
That's right.
So if they're using the concrete, are you in your processing thinking about the longevity, the resiliency, and durability of that selection? Because the people who made up the system, they did think about it. So brilliant way of bringing that forward. And in the world of carbon, let's look at the operational carbon of the finished structure, and let's look at the embodied carbon. But don't hear a buzzword and start in the world of objection. First, we're always already listening, being open to what we can learn, and then we decipher with more questions before we say what we know.
And that's really it. It's easy to point the finger, but this technology, concrete, it's been around a long time. And one would argue that the most sustainable building is the one you do not have to ever build again. So there is some facts behind that. But these companies also know that they need to move to a more sustainable, better future for everybody and the planet. So they are putting a ton of research and money in, and they already have the know-how and the knowledge to do certain things that us starting out in this industry don't have. For instance, they're looking now to incorporate the same building practices, not using concrete, but what if we were to use clay?
Okay.
Remember we had the clay block lady on our show? Out in, she was in New Mexico or
Colorado.
Was it Colorado? So I learned about the properties of clay, not just from, hey, it's a sustainable product, and the fact that pretty much every state has clay. And one of the manufacturing facilities we went to, Horl and Hartmann in Germany, Mark, full solar, have their own windmill. They run their own plant. And get this. Yes, they still have a kiln and they'll still burning some fossil fuel. But guess where they're going to start getting their fuel from? They've developed their own system. They are now going to the sewage plant, like bathroom sewage plant, and getting the sludge, which normally gets thrown out. Using that now is what they're going to be implementing into this new furnace and fire system. And then the byproduct of that after it comes out is all healthy, natural, and they use it to fertilize and plant. So they're really looking at this. But imagine if we were doing clay wall systems, Mark. Yep. You wouldn't need heating and cooling. I mean, in the South, you would. It gets real hot. But for the most part, you do not need heating and cooling.
The interesting thing, so there's a couple points we could have 5 more shows on. So the gal in Colorado, right? Yeah. Colorado Earth. So clay and earthen plasters in general if your space, I'm talking about your interior space, folks. If your space brings on humidity, what that material does is it naturally takes that, right? So
Yeah.
it allows your space to be comfortable. Then here's the bonus. Automatically, just like us breathing, automatically as your space dries, then that humidity goes back out. It is working symbiotically for you. So that's what those materials do. That's what
Yep.
they naturally do. So in the world of biomimicry, right? That's really neat application, but when a material works a certain way, apply it in that certain way. Great insight there, Dave. And then I'll back up on what the other point you made is what are we using for energy? And you guys might have immediately thought of Mad Max, right? And the Thunderdome with the hogs and all that.
That's right.
So again, energy comes from a lot of sources. And let's face it, waste plants, they got a lot of waste. So that's a
Yeah, yeah.
lot of energy.
It is a lot of energy to use. So, it's fun to be able to go to some of these bigger manufacturers and these people that have been in this industry for generations, and watching how they're making change. And I want to correct myself too. I said you don't need heating and cooling. You still need heating for sure, like in winter and all that for your clay building or your concrete building, but you need a lot less of it. In the cooling part, think about just living in your basement. I mean, when you're hot, and at least in the Northeast, and a hot summer day, if you don't have AC, all you do is go down to your basement. It's nice and cool always.
That's right. So
Right.
first, we're going to control the envelope, right? This is
Right.
all the building science principles. We're
Yeah.
going to look at the moisture, the vapor, the humidity, and then outside of ventilation, right? So outside air, not fresh air, outside air and filtered air, along with temperature control. So many ways to do temperature control. Uh, brilliant, brilliant. I love that mechanical portion that you brought in previously about incorporating that and the acoustics in the concrete panels. We're going to blink and it's going to be 2027, and that's going to be happening in Ohio, and that's going to be happening in Pennsylvania, right? So bring it on, learn from others.
Learn from others. So, with that said, Mark, I mean, what did you learn when you visited these passive house buildings? Did you learn anything new? Are you just the teacher, or are you still learning?
Never stop learning, never stop asking questions, right? Our buddy Aaron says apprenticeship is an obligation, right? So every apprentice needs a mentor. And I saw Steve's first passive house, one of his first passive houses. We went to Martha's Vineyard.
Oh yeah.
So for the life of me, people could call me an idiot. I'm logistically challenged. I know that. I don't know if I've been there or not. I don't remember that kind of stuff. But I do remember the house that I just saw, 800 square feet home, Dave. You might call it a right size home. Um, this was built probably 12 years ago. Uh, no energy bills, super thick walls. Everything is designed to shed water away, right? The famous strategy, all the passive house
Right.
principles are being applied, as well as solar. The homeowners, wonderful family. They are also the contractors, builders, and solar providers of the house. And he's also a paramedic and EMT, so he understands the health of the family and the health of the house. Very industrious gentleman, wonderful family. They live in the world of health. And next door to that 800 square foot home, they're just finishing up probably a 3,000 square foot home that part of the year will be rented, as that area needs a lot of those places, but completely quiet inside, completely fresh air,
Yeah, yeah.
all the attributes you would expect of a house that's designed to function for human balance.
Yeah, and I mean that's what it's about, right? How do we make a home for everybody to feel comfortable in and healthy in, raise a family in, and just live in general, right? That makes sense. So I love it. I love it, and that's what we're going to get back to on the show, talking about all these things. I will, Mark, just so you know, talking about healthy. I am going to be on location. Yes, I'm on the road again next week. I will be showcasing the largest modular hospital ever constructed that is under construction right now in the United States. Going to be happening in Ohio. It's already pre-built by my good friends over at ModLogic. And we're gonna go talk about it this week. It looks like so, or this upcoming week. I said so. Healthy homes, healthy hospitals. I mean, it's all becoming healthy, and I love it.
You've been during the pandemic. You were at a hospital modular placing. Really?
Yeah, and that what we won. We actually helped Axis Construction and from New York and ModLogic, who was the manufacturer of that building. That was 7,000 square foot pediatric addition. We had it up and running in 12 weeks, seeing patients. Within 12 weeks during the pandemic, we couldn't even open the wall into the hospital to connect the two, which, I'm kind of grateful for during the pandemic. We're there covering this story and talking about it. And, and now they're getting ready to do another big hospital. But this is the largest permanent modular hospital ever built in the country. So that will be fun. Anywho, we got a good show today, Mark. We're doing a run of a show that wasn't on BS Friday, but it deserves to be on BS Friday. This was a conversation that we had years ago with NREL, Shanti from NREL, and we're going to be talking about energy efficiency. We're going to be talking about offsite construction. This is a 12-minute, roughly short presentation, and then Mark and I are going to analyze it after it's over. So, you ready for that, Mark?
The national. This is NREL, right?
NREL. Yep.
The National Renewable Energy Laboratory. Acronyms are important, and don't get them wrong, because I always do.
Unless you're spelling BS Friday, then use a PH, not an F.
Wow, you heard it here, sports fans.
Let's get into it, man. Let's play this, and then we'll come right back to you.
Opportunity to have some wins around using volumetric modular new construction, factory-built apartments or hotels, and think about how we can use that process to integrate more energy efficiency by taking advantage of factory-built apartments, right? And so we've been. So let's see if you wanted to share that slide there. Yeah. Oh, maybe I'll jump around a little bit, but when you look at it's what we're really trying to do is there we go.
Can you go to full screen mode?
I can.
There it is.
Yeah. So this is there's a question, how do you do this, right? And what does it mean for energy efficiency? And so what it really means is that we are trying to maximize the amount of best-in-class energy efficiency you might see in an apartment and install that, design it so it can be installed as part of the scope that's in the factory, right? As part of the modular construction process. We're trying to maximize construction energy efficiency scope that can be installed in the factory and remove scope from the site. That is typically expensive, more coordination, and takes longer, right? And so that really means we're trying to unitize, bring as much of that efficiency, those efficiency strategies, to the module, right? And so that means things like centralized HVAC systems on the roof, like this, right? That's not a DFMA solution for volumetric modular, right? Something on the right might be able to be, right? And so that's specifically around this idea of mechanical pods, which are also being considered and thought about and developed for the retrofit market. Energy Sprong, they bolt these things on the side of your facade during your retrofit in new construction, where you could install it as part of a factory solution, eliminate at least the apartment mechanical scope for on-site and put it all into the factory. It means we can take advantage of all the benefits of off-site construction applied to some of our more expensive energy efficiency strategies, so that we can afford things like in-unit ERVs, distributed hot water instead of centralized hot water systems, right? All electric solutions that allow us to do heating and cooling, and minimize all the refrigerant lines that would have to be installed in, say, a VRF system with the rooftop equipment. You open up the rooftop as well. We're seeing a lot of smart apartment control systems going into these apartments. And it's a pretty complicated control integration scope to get your thermostat to talk to your phone, to talk to your access control, your smart locks, and your tenant billing system, right? As And that's you can go buy that now. A lot of these property management firms are offering that as a tenant engagement platform. But that's a pretty complex system. And if we can install that, quality control it, make sure it works in the factory, we could take advantage of modular construction benefits for high efficiency controls, and have some expectation that would actually work. Here's the last two here that I think your audience will probably hear a lot about: air tightness and how to get exterior insulation levels of R value within the wood structure, so that you don't have to have exterior insulation. Get an R19 wall within the stud. I think you probably know what I'm talking about there.
Yep, sure.
Yep, right. And so that's a specific DFMA solution, because you can now install the code required or the extra insulation without having site continuous exterior insulation, right? So that's a great example, and got some examples of analysis we've done with some of our factory partners to prove out the time and cost savings by using that specific technology.
And I just want to point out, so everybody really understands, at NREL, you actually have modulars on site. So it's not just research and paper. You have physical structures on site that you are conducting research on and working with other partners and collaborating to pull this information together, correct?
Yeah, right. That's right. So we've got factory partners like this, steel and wood. Let me jump around a little bit here, Dave, so I can get to that slide. So probably, Dave, last time I think we saw you, you were touring this module here, the white one. That's an IE module, right? As a home innovation tour, I think, at NREL last year. And so today, touring through kind of one of our experimental apartments. This is our research block, as we call it. Since you were there, another block has shown up. This is a steel frame block from the West Coast from a company called Blockable. We're doing things like, this is just the recent 3D scan we just did of that to look at how we could use 3D scans to manufacture overclad panels, right, as part of a research project that we have underway.
Shanti, just because we haven't really talked about 3D scanning, what is just quick cliff note? What is 3D scanning so people understand it?
It's a point cloud where every single pixel in this scan represents an XYZ point in a CAD file, so that then you can use that to design specific overclad attachments that would go on over top the existing facade. So it can streamline the details of how every facade is different and where you might attach an overclad system if you're to retrofit this wall system.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Encore probably has more technical details than that. That's my basic understanding of it, right, Encore?
I think that's good for now.
Okay. Yeah, so there we are. This unit was one of their early prototypes that our partner Blockable had built. I believe Bill Gates was in this when they had it on at the Microsoft campus. This is one module, and now we've got it to look at things like smart apartment control platforms and how to get their factory process to get pre-certified at a net zero level. And so that they can do the air tightness testing and know high confidence that the modules they're building coming out of their factory are at the net zero energy certified level. Our foundation through the Wells Fargo Incubator helps to fund that work. So that's us there during the set or the placement, I guess, at our outdoor research block test facility. Yeah, there you go, Dave.
Warm up.
Let's see. Jump around a little bit here, but that's how we think about DFMA. I think when we first started getting into this industry, the building in the bottom right there is Denver's first volumetric modular apartment project that iUnit had done. We thought it was always, these are all stats you know well, right? And the Modular Building Institute talks a lot about, but no one's really done a deep dive into, well, are they more efficient inherently, right? And from volumetric modular, you would think they were, right? Where moisture doesn't see wood during construction. You get better quality control, but does that really result in more efficient inherent builds? Something Encore and I and our team have been diving into with our partners to really understand how much more efficient is it and how to use DFMA, advanced manufacturing concepts to get all the efficiency strategies we all talk about that we see in the industry more cost effectively integrated into the offsite.
So, Mark, what is your thoughts on that last slide? I don't know if you were seeing some of this, but are you seeing that? I mean, based on where you guys are working, you know, with all the offsite stuff you're doing and the conversations you're having on energy efficiency, you know, what's your take on what Shanti was saying? Whoop, I think you're muted, Mark.
Love it. I think we're still 3 years behind, maybe 5 years behind in terms of general uptake on these. So the research they have not only is compelling, but it's necessary because this is something that we know the market is able to produce. However, the onboarding of it for the industry is on a delayed process, right? It's kind of like you order a pizza, you don't walk away from your phone and it's sitting at your table, right? So at the end of the day, what they're doing in the offsite construction industry, specifically to how he laid that out, is here. Is it here in the volume that we would like it to be? It's not. And that's the delay of ordering the pizza and the pizza getting to you. That's still a process. However, that uptake will then cause a different movement later in terms of the production world will then become faster. And so the delay will be offset by the movement. And it's an interesting exchange that I think few people can kind of get to. Again, we're not making a custom car, we're making production line of cars, right? Same thing. We're not making a custom building. It is a custom building, but come on, people, get the analogy. It's a production of it. So on the other side, the standards of code progressionally, right, as Enril lays out very clearly, is increasing. The easier format to uptake that is to include that in the offsite. So it's not this hand and this hand, and do they come together to make peanut butter and jelly? No, it's a natural flow, and it's all over the place. Yeah. It's like it's like the spider to the fly, right? They're gonna find each other, and the question is, how intricate can it get? Well, if you went to Europe with Dave and Jennifer, you would know.
That's right. So are you the spider or the fly?
It's like, you know, people are like, oh, in our market, we're not doing that. Okay, well, you know, great, but you can. And I do believe in locality. I will always stress locality. And, you know, don't sit in an Italian restaurant and expect egg rolls, right? Be in the place that what they have is what you need. And if it's not there, brilliant. That's your opportunity to bring it, right? Just copy and paste.
That's
Ask your partner in Europe. Say, hey, we're in Columbus, Ohio. We have this building here. We're ready to rock, and these are the, you know, the 400,000 units we need over the next 2 years. Bing.
Done. Let's get back.
Efficiency strategies we all talk about that we see in the industry more cost effectively integrated into the offsite manufacturing processes.
So is it more efficient?
It can be. It isn't necessarily, though. So let me see here. So the first one where it really makes the most sense, where it would be more efficient, is in the air tightness, right? And so one of our factory partners at VBC in the Hamlet, North Carolina factory was some of the first kind of air tightness testing we were doing as those units were coming, those mods were coming off their factory. We were doing blower door tests along with Colby and Momentum, right, to understand what the kind of, you know, inherent air tightness is for a build that had no requirements for testing, right? These are kind of, you know, they don't have codes or certifications that require after set testing for air tightness. We're getting anywhere between 3 and 5 air changes an hour, and 4 units coming off the factory line. You know, and Encore will talk a little bit more about how we model that factory to understand if we were to get more airtight solutions. You bring the solutions we all use in site construction to this factory. How much extra time would it take? How to use a factory, a station setting to get, as an airtightness station.
Yeah.
And so brought in one of the leading companies
that Dave, sorry. That's brilliant what he just said. How to make that portion of it the airtight factory station. That means it's coming, right? We're going to be blinking, and that's going to be standard procedure. And please, if you're out there and you're a site builder or you're a scale developer, please know that is not the taking away of jobs. That is allowing you to have more jobs. And the stitching that's required on site is very precise. That is an integration. This is a delivery of that shell, and you are still part of the system. So remember, be inclusive of what you're hearing, not evasive.
Then you've really proven out their sealing solution, right, for site build, and brought them into the factory to figure out how long would it take to set up the prep, how long would it take to actually do the sealing, right, to get from your 5 air changes down to 1 air change, and then how long will it take to clean up after. If you've heard about how this technology works, where you pressurize and then spray an aerosol-based sealant in, finds all the cracks and seals them up over time. And
so everybody understands what I'm going to jump on this because, this is kind of neat. I know, I even know Volumetric, BBC tried this, or maybe they are using it in some of their modules, but it really is. It's like an aerosol. You set up the tubes inside the building. Correct me if I'm wrong. You turn it on, and like a blower door, it'll actually find its way to all the air leaks that are happening within that building, and I guess coagulate like blood does and clog them up. Right?
That's right. And the tighter it is to start with, the less time you actually have to take. A typical site might take a couple hours to get to clog up. Right.
Mark, are you seeing the aero barrier being used in the passive house world?
I'm giggling over here. I was giving you private chats. Clog them up. Clog them up. You guys said it so many times. So I really like their technology for the ducts, right? AeroSeal they've had for a long time.
Yeah.
I also like their technology for aero barrier. Specifically, I like it for the existing building market and the factories. Now, in new construction, I look at aero barrier as a companion piece. So what I mean by that is minimize the leaks first. If you don't get to all of them, or unable to get to all of them, aero barrier will fill that gap. Hint, hint, right?
Right.
However, first have strategies. It's not like you forget to frame, right, certain studs on your package. It's not like you forget to run a line of venting or forget to run a line of electric and so on. So bring all those procedures forward. We've spoken many times. You have a window schedule, right? The window schedule usually includes the door schedule. In the world of performance, you shouldn't have a window and door schedule. You should have a penetration schedule that's inclusive of all the openings there. And then when and if you don't achieve it at rough or pre-insulation or post drywall or finish, those various stages, new construction or otherwise, your aero barrier team is there to drive down those numbers. So I've seen it. I've seen the system when they first rolled it out, and I've seen the growth. That company has a really good position that helps air leakage, and air leakage is important. Can't stress it enough. It always starts with meeting the building where it is, and what is your goal, and modeling to take it to the next step.
That is 100% it. 100%. Let's continue.
And like a blower door, it'll actually find its way to all the air leaks that are happening within that building, and I guess coagulate like blood does and clog them up. Right?
That's right. And the tighter it is to start with, the less time you actually have to take. A typical site might take a couple hours to get, to clog up, right? It takes maybe 45 minutes per apartment and another 128 minutes for prep to seal, to get it ready. And if you can imagine using a manufacturing approach where you actually have a station, the equipment's already set up, you've already got your tools and your blower door and everything ready to go, you can reduce the time it takes by 60%. Is what we found in our in working with VBC and their initial efforts there.
Right. Okay.
That's time and money savings, right? To get down to an ACH of 1, which is the air tightness levels testing, right? That we're shooting for, which is pretty tight. So that to me is a specific example of DFMA applied to an energy efficiency strategy to take advantage of factory built buildings. Right.
Love it.
Lots of good data that working with them that we're able to really prove out in terms of comparing to site field units and how long they take versus what we think we could get to, and when we have an actual station to do this at scale.
So look at that. Market's like half and more, right? Prep time on site, 128 minutes, off site, 70 minutes, 45% delta. Seal time, 128 minutes on site, 30 minutes off site. That's 77% delta. Clean time, 46 to 20. I mean, these are real numbers. So when you look at the total time to air seal a job in Utah, it says on top, on site, 302 minutes versus 120 minutes. Now that's just not, I mean, that's time. That's people. That is a reduction of liability, not only on the job site, not only with workman's comp, but also with the end user. That's a lot.
Yep. Time is time, right? If you're in your calendar, that's there. That's a huge difference. Numbers are in front of us now. Again, people could come to the table of saying, well, this is how I do it, and on and on. Okay, great. Yes, that is how you do it. But the chart in front of us is a direct comparison of apples and apples, not how you do it. So that's what a delta is about. It's giving you the distinguishing difference. And if you're not floored by that, you're probably not looking at what you're seeing. You're probably talking about what you've done. So get that out of your head and go in front of this and absorb it, because this is insightful.
Yeah, very, very insightful. Let's finish up here. We only have about 2 minutes left.
Perfect.
So paper there, you can, if people want to take a look at the details of how all that works and kind of how we're thinking about this. There's a recent paper on Kornai and team put together. And this is the website for the greater advanced building construction program that DOE runs, where this past year they selected 40 projects, put in 26 million to 29 different groups to all think about productivity and energy efficiency, new construction and retrofits.
All right.
Wow.
So with all this research, and once you have it all figured out, if you ever figure it out, it's ever changing and ever evolving. But how do you take this information then roll it out? What's the steps with this? Because here you're doing all this research. I think the next step is, all right, now you need the partnerships, the collaboration. How does all of this come together so it's not for naught, as they say, right? That we're actually making gains, we're actually progressing in the right direction. And the fact that the government's looking at it and moving things forward, I think, to me, it's always been like lead the way, right? So how you leading the way?
You go on Dave Cooper Live and tell everyone about it?
That's definitely a good place to start.
Good place to start.
You know what? I don't care who you are. When the head people at the National Renewable Energy Labs, say stuff about what we do, Mark, on this show and the other shows, and I mean, that's the comment that they make. That's cool stuff, dude. I mean, it's just cool. It means we're making an impact and getting it out there. And as you know, we're a very niche market on what we do and what we talk about. We're not Matt Reisinger with a big global, consumer-based market of trades and contractors out there, but we are hitting the right buttons with the right people to make big change, and that's what's fun about it.
That was a nice pat on the back, Dave. Small acknowledgments go a long way.
Yeah.
And if we were to pick different niches, we'd have a much different thing. But at the end of the day, passive house, building science, and offsite construction are still advancements. And we knew this when we took it on. And if you can ask any of us and the people we work with why we took it on, for the most part, it was because of all the problems we had before. And we knew inherently in our head and our heart that there's a better way. So we're spearheading the conversation of delivering the better way so that you can take those examples and run with them because the heavy walking has been done. Don't look for the solutions.
Yeah.
Ask for the connections.
100%. 100%. Well, I hope you enjoyed that presentation, everybody. I mean, this was something that I thought was really worth coming back and visiting with us traveling. Mark's been doing his thing. I've been on the road in Europe, have a little bit of catch up to do. We're rejiggering our system a little bit and everything that we're doing on this end. So, bear with us. I think the shows are only going to start getting bigger and better, and we're going to have more support behind them. And I'm super excited on what the future is going to bring, Mark. I think we're going to have some pretty big global conversations coming up here in the next couple months once we get everything in place. But that's cool stuff.
The Cooper family during the pandemic did travels in a wonderful RV from sites to factories to events, right? Quite a bit. And you just had a wonderful European trip. Good day to you, Mr. Ugaldi. And I'll tell you, we're always talking about what's going on the next show. And Dave said clear to me, folks, he goes, Mark, we're going to do this one somewhere between 22 and 25 minutes, but we get in a conversation and we enjoy it. So don't look at the ticker because it's at 40 some minutes. And, speaking of 43 minutes into the show, Dave is celebrating his 43rd birthday on Sunday. So a heartfelt happy birthday. I won't sing because everyone will turn off.
43.
Happy 43rd birthday, Dave Cooper. I hope your family makes you cake and puts your face in it and have a cold glass of milk and some chocolate ice cream with it.
I'll share some here. You'll be surprised to see some of the local folks that were kind enough to show up and enjoy a birthday dinner and some drinks with us last night. You want to see who was there? You might know some of them. I'll let you guess who they are.
Well, this is interesting. We have Miles and Ken joining. Miles is usually walking, right, and giving us great insights from media to life and growth in the family. And I'll tell you, Ken religiously posts more on LinkedIn than any of us could aspire to. Wow. He's running a business, running a franchise, running a factory, and running teams. The guy has time to write so insightfully. Look at these. He's
running all over the place. He's running everywhere. And speaking of running, Miles Biggs is now training for an ultra marathon, 50 miles. He sent me a message this morning showing me that he did 12 miles at a 9-minute and 30-second pace this morning. I'm like, I would be in a hospital.
I ran quite a bit, and I would never run that much at once. No, thank you. I like a good 10K. Look at this.
Yeah, those focus people. We got right dead center. That's Danielle. She's the CEO of Construction Robotics. They have a huge robot that builds bridges with rebar and steel. She's been in the industry for a long, long time and a big player in the commercial space. Jim Gabriel's on the right side of her. And then who's that in the very back? That would be Cooper Lane, Brave Control Solution.
Okay.
He just happened to be in the area from Canada, I guess. No,
he didn't happen to be in the area. My guess is
it was awesome to see him.
Jennifer Cooper probably did some emails and texts and helped to bring these people together. There she is.
There's Jennifer and I. Yes, she did. She organized this. I had no idea. It was just a small local thing, and some people just happened to hear about it and showed up. So it was really, really nice to have all these people here. So super pumped about that. All right, here we go. You know that guy?
I'm terrible at looking at the
Steigerwald.
screen while I'm looking at my mic. Who's in front of me?
So this is to my left side, right on the left side of me, right here. That's Dennis Steigerwald, CEO of Housing Innovation Alliance. This is his
Right.
lovely wife, Colleen, who is one of the top realtors in Pittsburgh. She does an amazing job. And then on my right side, right over here, is the Howick team. So love every moment of it. These guys.
Not everyone looks like their LinkedIn picture when you can see them from their shoulders down. So
Lynn,
LinkedIn, if you're listening, Dave Cooper has full head to toe photographs of everyone on LinkedIn. Please consider adding head to toe photographs from Dave. That'd be great. What a 43rd birthday. Beautiful
it
thing.
was amazing. And, I have to give a quick shout out to Tom Reed and his beautiful wife, Lynn, in the yellow there. Literally, they come from Ohio, but they're from Pittsburgh. I mean, they were just so much fun to be around last night. My mother, she just couldn't praise them enough. She's like, they are the nicest people, and they really, truly are. So I was very grateful to have him. I mean, there's a lot more people than that to show up.
Where's Brian Cooper? What, he didn't get an invite?
Yeah, he got an invite. He picked me up early, and obviously, we had a drink before the drinks and all of that. But yeah, he was there, and so many others. My kids were all there, and friends from hockey were there. The kids play hockey, and yeah. So
what about Ben Hershey and his wife?
Yeah, no, Ben and Diane weren't able to make it. They had some other stuff come up, but they're Washington State, man. They're like way up there. Ben's here a lot, so we get together with Ben all the time. So
yeah.
I am sure we will celebrate another night. So I'll just have to get my my drinking shoes on one more time.
Well, there you go. There's more events to happen. So at the very next event, when you see Dave, if you weren't at the birthday party, bring him a cupcake and say happy birthday. Jennifer, thanks for organizing all those people unable to make it, but proud to see those photographs. And it looks like a good time. I'll tell you, everyone, please, on Monday morning at about 4 a.m., call, text, and email Dave. Be really loud because I'm sure he's going to bed early on Sunday.
Oh, I am. Don't call or text me. You can dial 412-1-800-3333. I think is the number. Give me a call.
Dial 811 and find out where you can dig a hole. Love it.
Man. All right, Mr. Willie, thank you so much. Glad you're out there doing all the wonderful things that you do. We will see you next Friday. We're going to get back on track here. We're going to have some big guests coming on and some fun times. So I'm Dave Cooper, and that is the bare naked Mark Willie dancing over there. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We will see you on the flip side. Bye now. Dance, Mark, dance.